Hello, everyone. I did not plan on making a video today, but I did want to make a video to talk about learning a language and confidence. Now, one thing that I've noticed on the comments in my videos, as well as my students when they do their first lesson with me, there is a lack of confidence in how much English they know. A lot of times they'll say, oh, my level is a B1, but it'll actually be a C1. And I notice that this confidence in people learning a language is starting to get lower and lower. And it's becoming detrimental to their learning abilities. And today I want to really quickly talk about why I think that is and how you can have a different outlook on this. Now, before we start, I just want you to know I'm coming at this from the perspective of an American, so I can't speak as far as Australia, the UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Canada, whatever. I'm coming to this from the point of an American. Now, the biggest problem, I think, with language learning today is social media. We have all these social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and others that are creating this, limit, this pinnacle of where you should be. They're creating this facade of saying that if you really want to be an English speaker, you need to sound like a native. You need to get rid of your accent. You need to say things the way in which I say them. And then when you don't sound like a native speaker, your accent isn't like my accent, it then becomes discouraging because you've been following somebody on social media who has been telling you this whole entire time, follow me, follow me. If you follow me, you're going to get rid of your accent. That is wrong. And social media has created such pressure on the English learning community by creating such unrealistic goals and showing their lifestyle. If you speak like me, if you have an accent like me, you're going to be living in Silicon Valley and, renting a plane or driving a Maybach or something like that. It creates all of this, and it just builds and builds and builds. And what happens is a lot of people are watching this on social media. They're saying, I'm trying to learn English, but I don't have a fucking Maybach right now. I mean, come on. I mean, this is what social media has done to language learning. And it's unfortunate. And it's really unfortunate. So what I want to tell you is, when you're on social media, there are a lot of accounts that say, they give you these pie in the sky beliefs. You will learn this. You will learn that. You will sound perfect. And a lot of them won't be true. And a lot of it's not your fault. The amount of time you might have to study a language might not be the amount of time that somebody else does. You might have certain circumstances where you can't. Some of us just have other lives that we have to do. It's just the nature of things. So I think social media has really created this problem where people are believing that they can hit a certain mark because they have been told by social media, and then they can't. Then what does that do? That tanks their confidence. They say, I'm not speaking like a certain YouTuber, therefore I'm not doing as good. I can't speak well. I'm just not hitting where I need to hit as far as learning English. I have an accent. Oh my God, I have an accent. This person has been learning English since they were 4 and they don't have an accent. I've been learning it the last 6 months and I have an accent. What's wrong? And they create this impression that if you don't speak like them, then you're doing it wrong. And it's really hurting a lot of students. Now, I want to add one other thing to this too. And I think this is a theory, but it's more of maybe a psychological theory as well, is that I find that a lot of students from countries that have primarily one language, monolingual country, and the lack of an immigrant population are more likely to be more harsh on their language abilities than people who come from a multicultural, even sometimes multi-language country. So, and I think this is the reason, because a lot of people who, let's say, come from Russia, their whole entire life, they might have only interacted with people from Russia who all speak like native speakers. They don't have my experience where I lived in Chicago and Orlando and Montreal, where I interacted and talked to people from all over the world. All over the world. As a matter of fact, I lived in Orlando and worked in a store where I was like one of the only Americans, but everyone spoke English, and I knew that. That was the experience I had. And I think that a lot of people who don't have this experience might have a harder time because they have only spoken to people who do speak their language natively. And then they encounter somebody who doesn't, and it might sound different. Whereas to somebody like us in the United States, and this is why I'm mentioning that I'm talking about this from an American perspective, this is a country of immigrants. We are very, very, very used to people actually with accents, making pronunciation mistakes. It's not uncommon here. It's very, very common. And I think there's this block, there's this mental block. Is if I come to the United States and I'm an immigrant and I don't speak perfect English, I'm going to be shunned. I'm going to be looked at in a negative light. No, that is not true, because this is an immigrant society, and your language ability is not going to be the thing that prevents you from moving forward. Let me give you an example. Let's look at this guy, okay? He became governor of California twice, even though he has an extremely strong Austrian accent. And, you know, this wasn't a movie studio that put him up there. This wasn't, casting or whatever. The people of California elected Arnold Schwarzenegger with that accent. Now, if accents determine how good you are or how smart you are or whatever, Arnold Schwarzenegger would have never been governor of the sixth largest economy in the world, the largest state in the United States. He wouldn't have been governor. And this breaks the myth. This breaks the myth that if you are learning English as a second language, that you need to sound like a certain person in order to reach that goal. And that if you don't sound like them, your opportunities are gone. You won't have a chance to have upward mobility or anything like that. Your dreams are crushed. No, that is not the case. United States, it is different. And people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and millions of people around the United States, millions, it's like this. And you need to come to a point where you realize in America, what's going to get you your merit, what's going to make you move forward, is going to be your ability to actually perform. Okay, a lot of these job offerings in Silicon Valley will say you need a B1 or a B2 level of English, okay? They're not saying we want somebody who sounds exactly like an American. No, they're saying we need you to be able to speak English so we can communicate. Now, on the other hand, and I'll talk about this in future videos, the cultural aspect of it is a little bit different. It is more important to be culturally in tune with the United States if you want to have upward mobility in America than it is to have an accent. Honestly, no one cares if you have an accent. Like, no one. And that's just the truth. Now, if you're speaking English and you can't be understood because you're using the language wrong, that's a different story. But if you are a B2 level English speaker or B1 level English speaker and you have a strong accent from whatever country you're from, no one here is going to give a shit. I know, I'm an American. I've been in this country for nearly 50 years. I know how Americans think because that's how I think. And so I made this video because that's the whole reason I made this channel. I get frustrated by all these videos out there that create this, speak like this, speak like this, speak like a native, don't say this, don't say that, do say this. Because it creates this facade that is a fake facade. It creates this image that is a fake image. It's them saying this and someone like Lingua Marina, I hate to say it, putting her face on there saying this is what you can do is no different than that Instagram model putting herself on there and say, look at how good I am. Don't you wish that you were as good as me? It's horrible. And that's why I want you to really focus on doing what you can with English. Don't listen to these other people who are telling you to hit this level. You know, if you speak B1, if you're in the United States and you speak at a B1 level and you have an accent, you'll do fine. You'll do fine. You're not going to be outcast. You're not going to be shunned. You're not going to be looked at in a negative light. You're going to be fine. And again, Arnold Schwarzenegger, look at that accent. It's the strongest damn accent that's out there. He got elected governor twice. All right, I wanted to make this one video just to make this point. I wanted to make this point because it's come to the point now where a lot of students that I talk to, their confidence is really down when it really shouldn't be. They speak a lot better than they think. And I'm sure you might be in that same boat. I'm sure there's something in the back of many of your heads that's saying, I know that I'm as good as I think I am, but something else is telling me I'm not. Examine why that is. Know why that is. Understand that. But if you're coming to the United States, you're a B1, you have an accent, you're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about that. Now, of course, if you want to try to build to be a native speaker, that's another story. But don't think because you're a B1 or B2 speaker with an accent that your English is bad. It's not. Okay? It's not. And again, a lot of my students, I tell them that their English, I'd say about 85% of the students that I have, they underrate their English level. They'll say they're A2 and they're actually B1 or B2. They'll say that they're B1, they're actually C1. Don't sell yourself short. Be confident. Learn the language. Build what you know from the language. Take that knowledge and go forward. But don't think that your opportunities are going to be squashed as soon as you get to the United States, the second you get off that plane, because, oh, I have an accent. Again, Arnold totally disproves that myth. And yes, I know that is one big example, but you find success stories like this all over the United States. Why? Because we are a country of immigrants. The American ear and the American mind is used to listening to people with other accents. We're used to this. This is what we commonly hear every day. I can go down the street right now and there's a Mexican restaurant where people are speaking Spanish, and when they speak to me, they speak in a B2 level English with a Mexican accent. That's okay. And you have hundreds, thousands, millions of people around the United States that fall into the same category. And if you fall into that same category, well, you know what? That's okay. Now, thank you very much. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. Seeing a lot of these videos up there with this whole don't sound like this, don't sound like that, sound like a native, it just pisses me off. It really pisses me off because they're pushing a lot of people, discouraging a lot of people to not learn English because they've set this bar so high. You can do it. You know you can do it. And at the end of the day, it's only you that's going to make it better. Don't listen to them. Just don't. Well, thank you all very much. Have a wonderful weekend or day or whenever you're watching this. I have more videos coming up. If you're a French speaker, you're going to be getting some more videos. So I'll have those out. All right. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Stay strong. I said stay strong. Forgot the T in that word. See, we make mistakes as well. We make pronunciation mistakes when we are saying something fast too. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay focused, learn English, kick ass. All right. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.